Oh man, it is a lot going on in the world of Caitlin Clark. New sponsorships to the left, new deals to the right. It's a lot going on. We are gonna get to every. Oh, that's a boss move. Oh, that's a crazy boss move. That's a flex. Hey, listen, I understand. You got Nike deals, you got freaking PGA Golf Tour, Live Golf Tour, you got hockey sponsor. I know you got a lot going on, but to turn down 15 M's.
Okay, this is wild. The WNBA just completely imploded, folks. Picture this. Caitlin Clark, arguably the biggest star in basketball, looks the commissioner dead in the eye, sees a record-breaking $50 million offer, and basically shrugs, saying, "Nah, I'm good." Can you even imagine? That's $50 million sliding right back across the table like a cursed card. Fans are absolutely losing their minds, haters are going wild, and honestly, the commissioner probably needs a therapy appointment right now. This is pure, unfiltered chaos, and trust me, nobody, and I mean nobody, saw this coming.
15.
Woo!
After
50.
It started at 5.
Right.
But the official final offer was 15.
And get this, before Clark, other players were celebrating contracts as big as $15 million, often stretched out over 10 years.
10 weeks. He must be making some good dough, and I just think that it was more like a league thing.
She didn't want to be
anything.
Yeah,
she had to give the WNBA
and I'm sure many offers came to her, especially after that. I think we helped her.
Yeah, make more money
with some more money. If anything, you got a name like Ice Cube offering you 15 million on publicly, man. You got all that. That's all you need. That's all you need for the other 5 and the other 5 and the other 5 to come together.
But here's where it gets really crazy. The WNBA just stumbled into a kind of chaos that would make reality TV producers jealous. Can you picture it? The commissioner, all confident, slides this record-shattering $50 million contract over to Caitlin Clark, totally expecting fireworks, tears, maybe even confetti cannons. But instead, Clark barely blinks, just shrugs, and calmly says, "Huge offer, but no thanks." That single moment right there lit the fuse. The league didn't just react, they went absolutely nuclear. Fans are still in shock, haters are full-on raging, and the whole meltdown looks less like a sports league and more like a toddler in a Walmart losing it because the toy aisle is closed.
Unrivaled. If y'all thought a few million and some equity was going to get her to show up and play in your league, you got another thing coming. I said it. If Unrivaled want Caitlin Clark, y'all, a minimum of 10 million plus like 50% ownership of the whole league. That's where we start. That's the starting negotiation point. I might have undersold her, y'all. I might have undersold Caitlin Clark. Look at.
To truly get why Caitlin Clark's rejection completely broke the internet, we have to rewind to her meteoric rise. Because here's the thing, she's not just a basketball player, she's basically a walking cheat code. Back in college, Clark would casually drain threes from what felt like the parking lot, making defenders look like confused extras in her own highlight reel. Fans didn't just attend her games, they were begging for tickets, cramming into arenas just for a chance to witness the spectacle. She wasn't just a star, she was a full-blown, undeniable phenomenon.
league is on welfare. Okay, if they weren't on welfare, then the league would fold and there would be no women's basketball. And that is basically what has been revealed in this bombshell report about the WNBA being on track to lose roughly $50 million this year. $50 million, which is significantly more than the WNBA had been losing on a yearly basis in the past. Now, again, this is a little bit surprising because of the explosion in popularity of the WNBA due to Caitlin Clark, okay? But once we get into the details, it's not really all that surprising. But at the same time, reports like this kind of drive home the point that reasonable people have been trying to make about the WNBA.
By the time Caitlin Clark finally stepped onto a WNBA court, she wasn't just some rookie. She was an entire economy on two legs. Seriously, merchandise sales skyrocketed, ticket prices surged through the roof, and arenas started looking more like sold-out Taylor Swift concerts. You know, just without the friendship bracelets. So it made total sense the WNBA thought it was time to lock her down. They offered her a jaw-dropping $50 million, a number the league had literally never dared to even whisper before. And get this, most WNBA players before Clark were scraping by on contracts so small they wouldn't even cover an NBA rookie's sneaker budget. Yeah, Caitlin Clark had just completely changed the game.
All right, recent report dropped that the Big Three reportedly offered Caitlin Clark 15 M's for 10 games, but she declined. Crazy. Her endorsement deals must be pretty decent for her to willingly turn that down, because we know her WNBA salary is nothing to brag about. But for her to do that, I guess I look at it like this. If she were to have accepted that before she even stepped foot on a WNBA court, I could only imagine how they would have treated her. I don't even think she would have made it through half the season. She would have had a season-ending injury for sure.
You have to understand, this deal wasn't just about money. It was basically a desperate public love letter from the WNBA. It screamed, "Please, Caitlin, don't leave us. We need you more than oxygen." But then came the ultimate twist, the shocking rejection. This wasn't just a no, it was a nuclear-level shutdown, the kind that makes the person offering it instantly question every single life choice that led them to that moment. Picture the commissioner, months planning the perfect marriage proposal, ring fireworks, crowd ready with iPhones rolling in 4K, only to get shut down in front of everyone. But here's the kicker, with massive endorsements from Nike, Gatorade, State Farm, you name it, she's already sitting at a table stacked with offers worth double that $50 million. Smiling in commercials and casually draining logo threes pays way better than a league check. The WNBA thought they were dangling the deal of a lifetime, but Caitlin Clark knows her true value. She's not just another player anymore, she's the main attraction, the absolute reason casual fans even bother tuning in.
And she declined it. If that doesn't tell you how much money Caitlin Clark is making, I don't know, bro. Because who's saying no to $15 million for 10 games? She doesn't even have to score 10 points and she still would be making more than a lot of NBA players make. But Caitlin Clark isn't even back from an injury yet to play for the Indiana Fever. Do you guys think Caitlin Clark should have taken this $15 million deal?
At this point, Caitlin Clark is basically what Wi-Fi is to your house. Yeah, you could technically survive without it, but good luck convincing anyone to stick around. The fallout from her rejection was absolutely instant. Fans split right in two. Half crowned her a genius, while the other half branded her reckless. Sports media completely lost its mind, spinning this whole thing like a Wall Street crash crossed with a royal scandal. Headlines practically screamed, "Is Caitlin Clark destroying the WNBA?" And honestly, the league probably had to wonder the exact same thing. Without Clark, the WNBA risks becoming just another struggling league, fighting for airtime between cornhole tournaments and midnight bowling reruns. That $50 million offer, that wasn't generosity, it was pure unadulterated insurance. Clark simply reminded them that she doesn't need the league nearly as much as they desperately need her. It was like Netflix begging Taylor Swift for a concert special, only for her to laugh and say, "That's cute. I made more selling vinyl last week." The power dynamics flipped instantly. And here's the kicker, the WNBA did not take this quietly. No, the league went straight into full-blown panic mode, scrambling to figure out what comes next.
Without Caitlin Clark, they would have no fans. And I think that a lot of people are forgetting the fact that just, again, a few years ago, before Caitlin Clark was in the league, this is what it looked like at a WNBA.
Picture the WNBA boardroom after Caitlin Clark's rejection. Executives pacing, sweating, probably debating if selling plasma could scrape together another $20 million. Social media managers went into absolute overdrive, flooding timelines with highlight reels, hashtags, and those cringeworthy motivational quotes about growing the game. But honestly, the damage was already done, the narrative was out there. Caitlin Clark had just unapologetically flexed on the entire league. Now comes the bigger question. What does this really mean for the WNBA's future? If one player can stare down a record-shattering $50 million offer and just shrug it off, what does that say about the league's ability to keep its biggest stars? Because here's the kicker, Caitlin isn't the only player who knows her worth. Trust me, others are watching, calculating and taking notes. Meanwhile, the commissioner, they're probably still replaying that moment in their head at 3 in the morning, wondering how their dream deal turned into a living nightmare. If you thought the WNBA would just nod politely and move on, think again. When cornered, this league doesn't go quietly, it doubles down. And let me tell you, the drama has only just begun.
And speaking of basketball, your cousin Caitlin Clark just got an 8-figure deal with Nike.
Yeah.
A lot of people in our community is up in arms. They not feeling that. They mad Aja Wilson don't got a shoe yet. And it's simple math, bro. Aja Wilson played in the championship for the WNBA, and the final game peaked at like 1.2 million. Caitlin Clark played in the Final Four, and the game before the championship game peaked at 17 million viewers.
Caitlin Clark is gonna come to the WNBA and violate that shit.
This wasn't just a rejection, guys. It was public humiliation on the grandest, most televised stage possible. Imagine throwing the ultimate surprise party. You book Beyonce, rent out an entire stadium, hire the best caterers, and then the guest of honor doesn't even bother to show up. That's exactly how the commissioner must have felt, except way worse, because millions of people were watching it unfold live. The league's first response: pure, unadulterated denial. Reports suddenly popped up with anonymous insiders insisting Caitlin hadn't actually turned the deal down. No, it was just complicated or still under discussion. Translation: the WNBA was scrambling to save face faster than a teenager frantically clearing their browser history before their parents walk in. Then came the anger, but here's the twist. This wasn't just emotional, it was deeply strategic. Caitlin was playing chess while the entire league was still fumbling with the checkers box. And the internet. Oh, the internet had an absolute field day. Memes exploded across timelines. Clips of the commissioner sweating at press conferences were edited with captions like, "When you realize your entire business model depends on a 22-year-old. Others mocked up fake WNBA ads reading, "Please, Caitlin, we'll even throw in free snacks for life." Brutal, hilarious, and absolute proof the internet never ever misses a chance to dunk on desperation.
The WNBA needs to do something about this. Kathy Engelberg, you need to get a hold of what's going on here. The officiating Kelsey Mitchell getting knocked around like a damn pinball, shoots 4 free throws. Aaliyah Boston plays an entire game as big, as strong, as physical as she is. Aaliyah Boston shoots 0 free throws. And she wasn't standing at the 3-point line. The officiating is flat out atrocious. Everybody else is getting calls. I think it's ridiculous. Just the fact that Aaliyah Boston shot 0 free throws tells you everything in itself.
Fans naturally split into two absolutely fiery camps. On one side were the loyalists calling Caitlin Clark a sellout, a diva, even ungrateful. They argued she was disrespecting the very league that gave her a platform. But let's be real here. The WNBA didn't make Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark made the league matter. Before her, WNBA highlights were buried so deep they might as well have been collecting dust with your uncle's old VHS tapes. After, suddenly, arenas were filling, ratings were spiking, and casual fans actually remembered the league existed. On the other side were her supporters, praising her as an absolute genius. To them, this wasn't arrogance, it was pure brilliant self-awareness. Why on earth would you lock yourself into a long-term league deal when endorsements, media opportunities, and personal branding can easily triple that paycheck? Especially when those options don't involve grinding through back-to-back games in half-empty arenas. One major network even ran a full panel debating whether Caitlin Clark had just ended the WNBA before it ever truly began. That kind of coverage is usually reserved for alien invasions or government scandals, not a basketball contract. But let's face it, chaos sells, and Caitlin Clark had just served the entire sporting world pure, unadulterated chaos on a perfectly polished silver platter.
This is something that do not be surprised if President Trump speaks on with that kind of audience that is protective of a Caitlin Clark and what she stands for and what she represents. And they come to a conclusion that they believe she is being unfairly treated. That is going to be a problem for the WNBA. And based on Trump's history with the NFL and him being an obvious sports fan, goes to events and stuff like that, he pays attention to this kind of stuff. I'm just warning them, watch it, because if he gets involved and that base gets involved, because somehow, some way they embrace victimhood on a part of Kate.
So what did Caitlin Clark's rejection really say? To TV networks, it was a total gut punch. Let me break this down for you. Many of them only agreed to broadcast WNBA games because Caitlyn guaranteed eyeballs, ratings, and packed out arenas. Without her, that shiny new media deal suddenly looked a whole lot less valuable. To the other players, it was a revelation. For years, they'd been told to just accept the scraps and be grateful, but now they watched Caitlyn completely flip the script and realize they might hold way more power than the league ever wanted them to believe. And seriously, do not underestimate how much this rattled the commissioner personally. This wasn't just about money anymore, it was about control. That $50 million offer was designed to tie Caitlyn down, to keep her spotlight safely under the WNBA's umbrella. By rejecting it, she essentially announced, "You don't own me." For a commissioner used to players saying yes to whatever crumbs they were offered, this was an ego-shattering reality check. The crazy part is, Caitlyn didn't even need to explain herself. Her silence was the answer. She had already exceeded every expectation, and instead of being locked into their system, she completely flipped the entire power dynamic. It was like finding water in a desert, only for the water to smirk and say, "Actually, I'm not interested in being bottled right now." Suddenly, her rejection wasn't just a business move. It became a case study in empowerment. And trust me, the locker room took notice.
The WNBA did it because the sisters was upset that Caitlyn was getting so much attention, and they had to, the league had to hold Caitlyn back or allow Caitlyn to be held back with the refs, allowing the physical play against her by the players, the media diminishing her impact at every turn, and her play, and the league never coming to her defense to try to thwart off some of her.
And I'm not talking about empowerment in that polished, poster-ready way the WNBA's marketing team loves to advertise. No, this was the real kind of empowerment, the kind that absolutely terrifies executives. By now, the league's meltdown was undeniable. And the damage permanent. Caitlyn Clark had made it crystal clear the power didn't sit with the commissioner's office, the boardroom, or even the networks. It sat squarely with her, and she proved it by casually walking away from $50 million. Here's the real sting for the WNBA. She turned it down because she simply doesn't need it. Endorsements are already pouring in. Nike practically rolled out the red carpet for her. Gatorade probably has warehouses stacked with bottles featuring her face. State Farm could call her tomorrow and have her in a commercial by dinner. And then there's her social media presence. Millions of views on every highlight. Millions of fans eager to buy whatever sneakers she laces up. Compared to that entire empire, the commissioner's $50 million offer honestly looked more like loose change. Caitlyn didn't even flinch because to her, the league's mega deal was just small potatoes.
Out of the game. WNBA hates Caitlyn Clark. She is a white girl in a predominantly black league who's better than all of them. Even with everything that's going right now with the pay us what you owe us shirt, you saw Kelsey Plum at the end of it, tattletale basically, and bring out Caitlyn Clark about her team not being there. So there's always...
The league honestly thought it was pulling off the ultimate power move. Instead, Caitlyn Clark turned it into a punchline. Rejecting $50 million didn't shrink her brand, it made her even bigger overnight. Suddenly, she wasn't just a star athlete, she became the athlete who made the WNBA look desperate. She became the woman bold enough to say, "I don't need your record-breaking offer. I've got way bigger plans." You see, in sports, nothing is more valuable, nothing is more attractive than leverage. But let's zoom out for a moment because this is so much bigger than just one contract. This is about the entire future of women's sports. For decades, female athletes have been told to just take what they're given, smile for the cameras, talk about growing the game, and never ever question the yawning pay gap. By walking away from what looked like the biggest deal in WNBA history, she reminded every single athlete watching that gratitude doesn't pay the bills, leverage does. And make no mistake, this wasn't some wild gamble. The endorsement world is the Wild West, and Caitlyn Clark is the gunslinger walking into town knowing she already owns it. The ultimate irony, the WNBA thought this deal secured their future. Instead, it revealed how incredibly fragile that future truly is. Because if one player can flip the entire league upside down with a single rejection, what happens when others start testing their worth too? Caitlyn may have just sparked a revolution without saying a single word.
They offered Caitlyn Clark $15 million to play in 10 games. That's $1.5 million per game, bro. And she turned it down. Caitlin Clark, you so much better than me. The WNBA would have never, hey, listen, I would have never stepped foot on that court. $1.5 million per game. Bron don't even make that. And you turned it down for her contract in the WNBA, she gonna make like $400,000 in 4 years. That's the part that I don't really understand about WNBA players. They make so much bread everywhere else. They be making more bread in college. They make more bread overseas. They can make more in Unrivaled, the Big Three. There's so many options, but they still be playing in the WNBA. I don't get it.
The commissioner is probably still lying awake at night, replaying that entire scene like a nightmare on a relentless loop. Imagine being in their shoes. You scrape together the biggest contract your league has ever offered. You present it like the holy grail, and the player you're banking your entire future on doesn't just decline, it feels like she actually laughed. That's the kind of rejection that lives in your head, rent-free forever. And the absolute beauty of it, Caitlin Clark doesn't even have to say a single word. Every game she plays, every sold-out arena, every viral highlight reel just makes her point for her. She holds all the leverage without lifting a single finger. The more the WNBA tries to spin themselves as the winners in this story, the more painfully obvious it becomes that Caitlin is the one truly in control. Clark isn't just sitting pretty. She's completely rewriting the playbook. By turning down $50 million, she redefined what it means to have options in modern sports. She proved that real power doesn't sit in a commissioner's office or a fancy boardroom. It rests entirely with the stars who truly know their worth and aren't afraid to act on it. The WNBA needs Caitlin Clark far more than Caitlin Clark needs the WNBA, and she reminded everyone of that undeniable truth with one devastating word: no.